Last session we focused on the syllabus page. Now we're going to talk about the main page of our courses in MyCC. The main page comes up and it's got a number of portlets. That's these boxes here on each page. And some of those you will use and some you will not find particularly useful. If I go in and edit the page at the top, I can click on Edit Page. I get Properties, Content, Layout, and Permissions. So I'm allowed to adjust how that page looks to me. Under Content, but I click on that, I know I'm not going to use the calendar, so I take it off the page. Similarly, I don't use the announcement portlet that they have, and I typically will rename the portlet over here. It says about this course. I rename that my announcements. And I seem to have deleted one extra off of here. If I want to add back the bookmark portlet, I just add a portlet and put it back on the page. Then I need to verify my layout. The layout has announcements on the left, handouts and bookmarks on the right. So now when I click on main page, I'm looking at just these three portlets. The focus of this session is on the handouts. The handout page here, when I click on the blue handout, it becomes, I can click over here to the left, or I can click right on the blue at the top of the box. It turns that into a full page to work with. I'll see that there's a thing that allows me to, a drop down that allows me to do a number of things like editing tools, adding handouts, ordering, and I find that the most easiest to work with is the order of the sets. So when I click on order of sets, I'll notice that there's only one set there. Typically handouts are arranged in terms of sets. So we might have a set that is presentations, another set that is the handouts themselves. I might have a set for case studies. I might have a set for each class. So I might have a class face-to-face set if I have a set of handouts used in class. In the second session might be session 2, face-to-face, and the third session might be session 3. The handouts themselves can be made in terms of visible to students and not visible to students. So you can actually store all the materials that you need to for the entire course within handouts, and then either make them visible or print them out as you need to. Sometimes I'll keep my presentations here. The one thing I don't like is this term ungrouped, so I eliminate it by editing it. I'm going to call it presentations, and I'll save that. I'm going to add, if I click on manage, I'll see that I can add a set. Now you can add sets anytime you want, but in this case I'm going to just add a few. Case studies. And I'll add another set called Session 1 Handouts. And another quick set for Session 2 handouts. Now all it does is gives me a list of things that I can put my documents under. So now I'm ready to start adding content. So the little green plus is how I do that. I click on the plus for case studies, and it opens up a page that's going to let me put some various things in here. So this is case study 1. So you put the title of the case study in. You go out and you find your case study, the one you want to use. You browse for it. You click on browse. You find it in your hard drive like you're doing an email. And you make a decision. I want to display it now. I don't want to display it now, or I want to display it on a particular date. So you have several options there. You can also have options for end dates. You can display something at the beginning but not later. And then finally, you have a decision here. You can make this as a link that's shareable. If you click on that, you can actually take the URL for this particular document, and you can put it into an assignment later on so they can get directly to it. And I hit save, and that's my first one. So I click on Handouts here, and I see I have a case study. Want to add another handout, and this might be case study 2. And I go find my case study. I pick the category it goes under, so here's my case studies. And once I save that, I can see that I have 2 under case studies. I'm going to add another couple of handouts here real quickly. I'll have a handout on ILP templates. ILP templates. And again, and this time I'm going to hit save and add another. I'm going to pick this one, ILP handbook. ILP handbook. The one thing you want to do is to order your handouts so the students can find them. Putting out 45 or 50 handouts, one right after another, without having any order to them or having any groupings of them makes it very hard for students to find. So now I have 2 here. I could continue adding handouts as long as I needed to, and at any point I can add a new set and just keep adding handouts. Notice these are in presentation. Maybe they should have been in handouts. So I can click on those 2 and move them to Session 1 handouts. And so now they're not under presentations anymore. Add another handout, same approach. I browse for it. I find my presentation that I'm going to put in here. So if I use a PowerPoint, I can call it a PowerPoint, whatever I want to call it. I hit save. So you can see how the handouts show up in sets. Now, if I wanted to make one of these inactive, like the ILP handbook, I click the pencil and I can say display later whenever I want to. And I hit save. And now I'll see that I have active ones, ILP templates, and inactive ones. The final thing to show you here is that within the handouts, I'm allowed to use some tools to help me so that I don't have to start out and put everything in alphabetical order. I can alphabetize it later. So up here in this wrench gives me some customization of the handout section. I click the wrench and I see that I can order handouts alphabetically. I can also order the sets alphabetically, so I'll choose both of those. I'm not going to show the empty sets. If there's nothing there, I don't want to show it. And once I've done that, and I go to my main page, I see that I have case studies, presentations, and Session 1 handouts. And one of those is inactive. And again, if later on I need to make that go active, I click on handouts. I had the second one here, I believe, was inactive. No, get the right one and the help. ILP handbook was inactive, and I can display it now. And when I click back on my main page, I see all the handouts are now visible. Final thing is to check and see what the students can see. At the top, you have a view as a faculty. You can change it to see it as a student would see it. And all that happens in this particular case is the editing marks come off. If I had one of those inactive, the students wouldn't see it. That concludes the session. Thank you.